NBL Canada get live.
I'm the odd man Audley Stevenson, and the road to the 2014 NBL Canada Championship was a thrilling one. Here's your full recap of round one. The one-game play-in match featured the 21-19 Ottawa Skyhawks versus the Mississauga Power, who finished the season with a 10-30 record. It was a relatively close game throughout that came down to free throws in the fourth quarter. With the Power up 100-102, Alex Superman Johnson is fouled and has a chance to make it a two-possession game in the closing seconds. He calmly steps to the line and hits the first free throw, but misses the second, which gives the Skyhawks life. Ottawa has one final chance to tie the game down by 3 points and 11 seconds on the clock. Play call goes to Ryan Anderson, who already has 23 points, but won't get any more, as he's called for stepping out of bounds on the final shot, thus ending the Skyhawks' inaugural season. The Power were clearly riding a high off their victory over Ottawa, and they came out of the gate strong off the opening tip, hitting their first three shots, leading Windsor after one quarter. However, it was a play of Chris Commons who poured in 29 big points, and the solid backcourt of Darren Duncan and Steph Vinot, who also came up big, and helped give Windsor the 105-97 win. Mississauga attacked the paint early in game number 2, including this pretty spin move by Dave Seegers. But it was Windsor's backcourt once again who've come through. You had Steph pouring in 25 points and Darren Duncan adding 19 plus 11 assists to give their squad the 2-0 series lead. The Express looked for the sweep in the best-of-5 series on the road against Mississauga. But unfortunately for the Power, this game was over early, as the Express put up a whopping 38 points in the first quarter and never looked back. Steph Vinot was big all series long, averaging 24 points per game. The Brampton A's hosted their first ever playoff game at the Powerade Center and came out of the gate swinging. In typical A's fashion, 5 different players scored in double digits, which has been the trend all season long for them. For whatever reason, London just didn't seem ready, and Brampton capitalized, winning the game 95-87. The scene shifted to Bud Gardens for game number 2, and it was an entirely different London team that took the floor this time around. Their defensive intensity was turned up, particularly in the second half, where the A's only scored 8 points in the third quarter. The London Lightning cruised to a 105-89 victory, tying the series at 1 game apiece. The scene shifted back to the Powerade Center for a crucial game number 3. Coach Magley and the A's weren't happy with their performance in the third quarter of game number 2, and it definitely showed, with Brampton outscoring the two-time defending champs in the third 33-16. The A's drained 21 of 34 shots in the second half for nearly 62%. These numbers were good enough to give the A's a 2-1 series advantage and put the back-to-back champs on the ropes. Both squads head back to Bud Gardens for a crucial game number 4, and for the first time in franchise history, the London Lightning were staring at postseason elimination. The both also received some crushing news that one of their leading scorers, Stephen McDowell, would be sidelined with an injury for the remainder of the series. Despite the chips being stacked against them, London responded out the gate, outscoring Brampton 35-18 in the first quarter, and they held on to the lead to force a fifth and deciding game number 5. The Powerade Center was intense from the opening tip, with many of the London faithful making the trip to spur on their squad to victory. It was a close game throughout, with both sides trading baskets back and forth. It came down to the fourth quarter, where a goaltending call gave London the 2-point advantage. Brampton at the other end had a chance to score, but Kevin Francis missed this game-tying jumper. Tony Bennett, who finished the game with 20 points, is fouled and steps to the line and hits 2 crucial free throws to ice the game, thus ending Brampton's inaugural season and renewing a matchup of bitter 4-1 rivals between the London Lightning and Windsor Express, who will meet in the conference finals. The first round of the playoffs over in the Atlantic featured division leaders St. John Mill Rats versus the last place Halifax Rainmen. Halifax didn't have much success against the Mill Rats during the regular season, but a different team showed up once the playoffs got started. They took the Mill Rats into overtime in game number 1, where they shocked the St. John faithful with a 113-110 upset win. The Mill Rats needed to bounce back in game number 2, and they did just that, picking up the 110-101 victory. Doug Herring Jr. was on a mission, and he poured in a whopping 42 points. They outscored Halifax in every quarter except the fourth, where the Rainmen tried to make it close. With the best-of-5 series all tied at 1, Game number 3 was an important one with major implications. The Rainmen had momentum in their favor, playing in front of their hometown fans, who came out and supported their squad. Anthony Anderson tied the game at 91 apiece with a three-pointer with 5 minutes on the clock. But a key 5-0 run a few minutes later, capped with Chris Matthews' three-pointer, gave the Rainmen a 195 lead that they would not relinquish. The Halifax Rainmen are one step from advancing to the next round with a 110-105 victory over the regular season Atlantic Division champion St. John Millrats. Game number 5 was a must-win for the Atlantic Division champs, or their season would be over. The Millrats clearly wanted the victory to keep their championship dreams alive, but the Halifax Rainmen would not be denied. Halifax shot a staggering 61% for the field and a whopping 65% from behind the arc. This helped Halifax complete a shocking first-round upset of the number 1 St. John Millrats by winning big. 123-102 was the final score, taking the series 3-1 and advancing to the winner of the Island Storm Moncton series in the Atlantic Division Championship. Although they were playing at home, the Island Storm knew they were in tough, primarily because of the mismatches that the Moncton Miracles frontcourt can create. The Miracles' size definitely came into play from the opening tip, and they eventually out-rebounded the Storm 64-58. Despite being bullied on the boards, the Storm held Moncton to 18 points in the fourth and put up 30 of their own for the 108-89 Game 1 victory. Antonio Ballard led all scorers with 30 points. Despite a huge performance by Trayvon Lathan, who put 30 big points on the board, the Miracles fell in Game number 2, 128-105. The advantage they had on the boards from Game 1 evaporated as the Island Storm out-rebounded Moncton 61-42, including 16 by Antonio Ballard. The scene now shifts to the Moncton Coliseum, where the Miracles turn to their hometown fans to help them pick up a victory in a crucial must-win game. It was a close game throughout that saw the Storm lead for the better part of the contest, but Miracle Nation never gave up. Big shots down the stretch from Trayvon Lathan, who scored 24, sealed the deal and gave the Miracles life to fight another day. The Miracles looked to extend the series with another win in front of the hometown crowd, while the Storm wanted to end things now and move on to the next round. The Miracles didn't get the start they were looking for and spent most of the game playing catch-up as they trailed the Storm at the half. The story of this game came down to turnovers, and Moncton committed a lot of them, 23 to be exact, and the Storm was able to capitalize and edge out the victory 104-88, thus ending the season for Moncton, who bowed out of the first round of the playoffs for the second consecutive year.
Get locked.
That's how we
NBL Canada, get live.
When I say that's how we, you say ball. That's how we, that's how we. When I say that's how we, you scream ball. That's how we, that's how we.